Hey everybody, in this video I wanted to show you guys these E36 gauge panels that I'm making and selling. This video is basically just going to be an overview and then how to install them and basically best practices when installing them. So first I want to show you the different options that I have. There's a triple gauge version. These are all for 52mm gauges. Triple, double, single, and these are just blanked off. And then there's also the versions that have a little bit of a pocket. This one's big enough to fit AirPods or chapstick or something. This one's big enough to fit maybe a small wallet or a Leatherman, pack of gum, something like that. But first, the first thing you want to do when you're going to install this is you have to remove this from your E36. Basically, the way this is going to work is your gauges are going to go here, and then your onboard computer is going to go right above that. Okay, so once you have this panel out of your car, you're going to need to basically score a line and cut it. And after you're done with that, it's going to look like this. But there's a way you want to do it so that you don't ruin your panel. And anybody can do it. It's not too hard. You just got to follow some simple steps. So first of all, you're going to need a good sharp knife. You can use a knife like this. Just make sure you snap it off so you get a nice sharp section. Or you could use a razor blade like this. Just make sure it's a brand new blade. And basically what you want to do is if you see this groove right here, there's a little bit of a gap, and basically you want to go towards the upper side of that gap. You want to score towards the top all the way down, and you want to do that about 30 times, just back and forth. You don't want to cut all the way through. You maybe want to cut halfway through this plastic. So after you cut halfway through all this plastic, then you want to come to the back side. And right here, if you see, there's all these little gussets right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to nip all of these. Just get a pair of flush trim snips or something like that, or you could even get a Dremel in there and just Dremel it until you get to the back of this plastic. Don't go all the way through. Just make sure you get all these gussets out of here, so that what you're going to do is after you get all these gussets out of here, you're going to take it and you're going to flex it back and forth. And because you've scored it right there, it's going to start to bend. And you're just going to go back and forth and back and forth. And then eventually you're going to have two pieces. You're going to have your upper pocket and you're going to have your lower piece. And after you have this piece right here, you have one more step you need to do. All those little gussets that you cut down on the back, now you need to do one last step, and you basically need to trim them. If you see right here, I just took a pair of flush trim snips and I just nipped all of these off from the back side. You don't have to grind them all the way down. You basically just, if you look at this angle right here, they all need to be about flat all the way through here, and that's so that these panels are gonna fit properly. If you see, there's these little backstops right here, and that's gonna keep this bottom section from being able to float backwards when it's in the car. So basically the way this is going to work is you have your bottom panel, you have the gauge panel, and then your OBC is going to fit on top. And you can see it locates on these little tabs right here on the bottom, and it's all going to be a really good fit once you put it in the car. And after this, I'm going to cut up to my car and I'll put all of it in so you can see how it fits. Okay, so before I go ahead and install this panel in the car to show you guys how to do that, I just want to let you guys know that it's very important that you do not over tighten these gauges. It's most important for the triple one, but also the double. Basically, most of these gauges have a U-bracket, and it's putting pressure on this gauge panel. And basically what's going to happen is if you tighten them too much, your whole panel is going to start to bow like this. And then when you put it in the car, it's going to be very obvious, and it's not going to look good. So what I've done here to prevent people from over tightening is, first of all, I have these little channels right here that's going to capture your this U bracket, and basically it's going to prevent the U bracket from rotating side to side. And there's different steps depending if you have a different U bracket. But basically you're going to do that, and then also the other thing I've done is I'm going to include an extra nut in every package for your gauge. So most of these threads are M4 by 0.7. If you happen to have a different thread on the back of your gauge, you'll have to go to your local hardware store and get either a nylock nut or get another nut. Because what I'm strongly encouraging everybody to do is you tighten it down a little bit. You could even tighten down these nuts by hand. You tighten it down by hand, it's not wiggling side to side. It's a little bit hard to do here, one-handed, behind the camera, but you're going to tighten that down. Even just hand tight is fine. You're going to take another nut, you're going to tighten that one down, and you're basically going to just tighten it. You're just going to tighten them together. And all this is doing is it's preventing this single nut from rotating. Since you're not putting a lot of torque on it, it would back off over time. So if you double nut it, then you'll be able to ensure that it's not going to ever back off. So now you have a gauge that's mounted. There's not too much pressure. It's not wiggling around side to side because it's captured by these slots, and it's secure. So this is what I encourage you guys to do for all these gauges to prevent the nut from backing off, and then also to prevent from over tightening and bending the gauge. So now with that, I think that's all you guys need to know before you install it into the car. So now I'm going to cut back to the car and I'll show you guys how to get this installed. Okay, so now we're up in my E36 and I'm going to show you guys how to install the gauge panel. So you're going to start with this lower piece that you scored off from the top. Obviously put all your buttons in here and connect all those up. I actually sell a USB-A or USB-C double USB module that actually goes in any one of these slots that you want, and you just connect it up to the 12 volt here. But after you've put all those buttons in there, you just go ahead and set that guy in there. Then you're going to take your gauge panel with all your gauges installed. Obviously you're going to connect your wiring up, and then you're going to push it straight back, and then you're going to want to start one side. So start the right side, and then you're going to push over to the right and then back. So I'm pushing over to the right, and then I'm pushing back, and it's just going to go in there like that. And then you're going to want to push it down to apply pressure on this lower panel here. Okay, then you're going to take your OBC, and you're just going to slot that in. And as you can see, everything went in nice. The onboard computer went in good, but it's not rattling around. This lower panel is held in here good. It's not rattling around. It's not going to be rattling around when you're driving. And I put a lot of work into making this panel so that everything fits in here really good. And it's to the point where you can't just go ahead and pull any of this out. The only way to now get this all apart is you're going to need an interior pry tool. And the way you do it is you start with the OBC, get your wedge in there, push it, and you're just going to pry it out. And it can be a little bit difficult. You don't want to force anything too much, but you can see there, that's going to go. You're just going to pull it, and things are going to start to come off. See? So now your onboard computer's out, now your gauges are out, and now you can go ahead and change anything that you needed to. Or if you want to go back to factory, you could take your panel out like this. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys are interested in this product. All the variants, everything will be listed in the description if you guys are interested. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help you. Alright, thanks. Bye.